back, boys and girls, to another episode of Kayfabe Comparisons. My name is Mr. Know-It-All, Daniel John Schaefer, and I am joined once again by the king of the Kayfabe kickflip, Mr. Wex Breaking the Lawson. Wex, how we living today?
Living great. Hopefully the weather will be nice so I can go do some Kayfabe kickflips because we had some bad storms yesterday.
We did.
Got pretty hectic. Power went out a few times, but hey, we're feeling great. We got some good wrestling news on the horizon. I went to Dynamite Live this week. It was fantastic. Great birthday celebration. But I'm looking forward to talking about these rumors and these things that are going on in the business right now. Some of that tea, baby.
In the biz. I am very excited about it. This week's episode is a Baker's Dozen. I'm pretty pumped about that. I always love to get good old Jesse Baker the reins to the show and interview the best up-and-coming, the people that have just been working in the scene for a long time. And I believe today's guest is Scott Hensley. What can you tell me about him, Wex?
Scott Hensley, he's pretty sure he's the guy who started Scenic City. As you know, that's a big,
very cool,
popular wrestling event in the South, the Scenic City Invitational, the Scenic City Tournament, a good showcase for up-and-coming, it's not just Southern pro wrestlers, just any great young up-and-coming pro wrestlers, but particularly down here in the South, down at Chattanooga. He has a lot to do with TWE and action wrestling, too. He's just a very instrumental person in, the showcase of pro wrestling in the South.
I love it, man. I'm excited about today's episode. I'm excited about the Baker's Dozen. But before we get to that, it's my and your favorite part of the show. It's Wexley Spills the Tea. Fill up my cup, baby. What we got?
Oh, we're going to fill it up to the tippy top today. And let's just go ahead and jump right in. The biggest fucking stuff going on right now is that Cody Rhodes news, the Cody Rhodes saga. So,
yeah.
He's gone from AEW. Him and Brandy are officially gone.
Officially.
And no one knows exactly what he's going to do yet. There's heavy rumors leaning very hard towards WWE, but there's many possibilities. Nothing's been set in stone yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he is going to WWE, actually. But I feel like there's a way for all of these rumors to kind of be true. Like all of them. I think it's a possibility. I don't know if I see Cody Rhodes being Seth Rollins on Monday Night Raw every Monday, or Roman Reigns on SmackDown every Friday. I just don't. I don't see him being a weekly guy he wasn't that in AEW either. So to me, we've also heard the rumor, which I don't think it's really a headline. It's just more rumor and suspicion that he might be trying to purchase Ring of Honor. I think that there's a possibility for him to sign with WWE in a more of a part-time fashion and also own Ring of Honor. And I think that could be a really big leg up for this whole Forbidden Door vibe for WWE. Especially if they start kind of, at that point too, you will have had, let's just imagine in an imaginary booking world. Let's say that does happen. Okay. WWE signs Cody Rhodes to a part-time gig and he also buys Ring of Honor, right? So if that happens, we will have seen the Ring of Honor Championship defended on Ring of Honor's own show, on AEW, and on WWE. That'd be a massive coup for WWE. Not only that, but getting an AEW VP who is now the owner of Ring of Honor, it makes WWE seem like, oh, they're all about the Forbidden Door, which realistically it's just a deal with one guy who haven't, you know what I'm saying?
And it's honestly a little bit, it'd be good for Ring of Honor, more exposure for them.
For everyone. It really would be good for everyone.
Yeah.
Including AEW, because then you get some AEW loyalty type vibe. We're already experiencing it now. They have a grassroots. AEW is going nowhere. Is pretty much what I'm saying. They're an established brand that's going to stay for a very, very, very long time. I do think that the whole EVP vibe, the Bucks, Omega, Cody, that's all going to eventually fall away. It's Tony Khan's show, and it should be. It really should be.
That's actually one of the main reasons why Cody left is because it is Tony Khan's show now, and he does control everything. The EVP now is just more of a formality, a name, and Cody really wanted more creative control and wanted to be the EVP, even though the other guys aren't really doing that anymore. They're just kind of helping out in little aspects here, but they're not full creative control. They're not booking.
Right. Yeah.
They're just trying to help the tag division, help the women's division, do what they can. But
right. If you can get, but that's what I'm saying. You get somebody like Cody Rhodes and he runs Ring of Honor, even if he gets half of that roster back, like let's say you get, the Kingdom back, Gresham and Braun or Titan or whatever. That alone with indie guys, you can make that work for sure. Like at least on that third level, they could at least rise to the Impact level. I think you could easily get people like the Inspiration over there. And when certain guys' contracts come up with AEW, I could see. I mean, Janela's is coming up. He's not going to renew.
Yeah, maybe some of the lower mid-card guys, they know they wouldn't be able to get that extra push.
Yeah.
And they could do something like a Christian Cage back in the day, go to the smaller promotion, build your brand up. Like,
yeah. Get some of the old NXT guys that still haven't been signed. I'm still waiting for Patrick Clark, a.k.a. the Velveteen Dream, to get a shot somewhere. I think that dude's a great wrestler. I don't think he's done, but we'll see.
Yeah. And, I think that could work. And I know Cody he wants to honor his dad's booking legacy.
Yeah. I think he's a good booker. I genuinely do think he's good at, I mean, if he's been the one that's involved in his storylines, the only thing that I think really sucked was the Anthony Ogogo thing.
That's what I was going to say. And that's like, I feel was the beginning of the salt turn where people were just like, eh.
But I think the booking would have worked if they could have done it in the UK with that crowd being way behind Ogogo. You know what I mean?
Yes, that would make sense. But the whole pro-America thing, it just doesn't work in 2022. It just doesn't.
I agree.
We're done with that shit. This ain't WWE. Maybe he can make it work in WWE, but you know who's not going to be going there with him apparently is Brandy.
Yeah. I think that she's done with wrestling. I mean, at least done with that side of it, like on screen. She seems like she does not like being on camera.
Well, actually, that's quite the opposite. She still wants to wrestle. She's been saw training this week, and she still wants to pursue an in-ring career. And WWE made her an announcer for a reason the first time.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And there's contrary reports coming out backstage. A lot of people saying no one liked Brandy backstage, but a lot of people are coming out defending it, saying, oh, a lot of people did like her. So it's kind of all up in the air. I just know
it's probably just like every other wrestling locker room, and it's a bunch of cliques, and a certain clique of people hated her, and a certain clique of people loved her, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah. Can't please everybody these days.
Can't.
But, yeah, so other big news, there's the big rumor that Stone Cold Steve Austin may be having a match at WrestleMania.
Bro, have you heard the craziest part about? Okay, so that's we've heard that rumor against KO, right?
Yeah, against Kevin Owens.
The craziest part is that they're gonna try. Like, rumor has it now is that they're gonna try to somehow fit John Cena into a three-way with them, so that way Owens can kind of carry a lot of the match if he needs to, but you still get awesome spots between Cena and Austin that we never got. And I love that idea of a triple threat.
Can Cena just wrestle in his Peacemaker gear?
Oh, please.
I'd be totally down for that because I was not a very big Cena fan, but after his acting run recently, I became a Cena fan.
Peacemaker kicks ass, by the way. I love that show. If you're not watching on HBO,
get to show that
charisma
in WWE? He never got to display that charisma. It was all pretty standard, basic, except for the thugonomic shit. He got to say some stuff, but once he dropped that and was just like, "I'm Cena, Super Cena Man," he never really got it on the mic as good. But dude,
yeah, he did an interview that's on YouTube. You guys can find it too with GQ after the second or third episode of Peacemaker came out, and he was talking about wrestling, and he said that he's actually pitched ideas to Vince about wrestling in between his acting gigs, and that he doesn't run the company, and that he was he essentially was told no a couple times. So it's not that he's just not been there. Like, apparently he's had gaps where he's wanted to come back and work, and Vince has been like,
and Vince
nope.
said no. Well, what if Mr. Tony Khan says yes?
Yeah, I don't.
They already have that. I mean, hey, there's already the partnership. He's working for DC. They're owned by the same company. Hey, it
would never happen.
Anything's possible these days. We never thought CM Punk would come back. We never
John
thought
Cena is the Undertaker, though, man. He's I mean, it's like Austin or Rock. Neither one of those guys are ever going to AEW. Never.
Hey, well, speaking of the Undertaker, he was just announced this morning as the first inductee of the WWE Hall of Fame.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Just an hour before we started recording. So the Undertaker, we knew this was going to happen. This should have happened 10 years ago, to be honest. But Undertaker Hall of Fame, fantastic. We knew it was going to happen. But WWE is up to their old tactics again. They released longtime Spanish announcer Carlos Cabrera.
I mean, that dude's old as sin, though. I mean, imagine if JR was still on Raw. You know what I'm saying? Hey,
but they just, I don't know. Now, remember when it was him and Hugo Savinovich? That was the best Spanish announce team from the 90s.
Oh, dude, the selling that they did when the tables went down. Oh, the selling was just top notch.
Hell in the Cell, the way Hugo Savinovich went down, he slid like a fucking worm. It was great. Awesome. I love those guys. Sucks to see that now the other half is officially gone, and 205 Live officially canceled. There's now a new show coming on Friday nights called NXT Level Up.
Oh, no.
And I think it's going to be in direct competition with Rampage.
On what channel? Sci-Fi?
Some random shit. It's coming on at the same time, like Fridays at 9 o'clock, I think. And it's only going to be a 1 hour show just like that.
It's probably like a Peacock streaming thing or something.
Yeah, I think so. But they completely changed it. No more 205 Live. It's called NXT Level Up, and it's all colorful and crazy looking like NXT 2.0.
Well, apparently the WWE themselves are loving NXT 2.0 now, and they think that Shawn Michaels has like completely revamped that whole thing, and they're in love with the way it's going right now.
Well, I guess they didn't see all those people booing Braun Breaker winning the title the other night, and then because they pumped in fake crowd noise to make it seem like they were cheering for him. You could just see thumbs downs everywhere. Everybody really wanted Santos Escobar to win at that point, but you can't please everybody, just like we said. And you were talking about NXT signings that haven't been anywhere yet. Well, last night on New Japan Strong, we had 3 former NXT guys show up.
Ooh, who showed up?
Shane Thorne met back up with his TM36 or the Mighty Don't Kneel, Jonah Rock. He wasn't part of that, so like he's back with his Australian the Mighty Don't Kneel boys. Grand Metalik came back as his old gimmick Mascara Dorada and reignited his feud with TJP from 205 Live. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
they could span that in between companies. And Isaiah Swerve Scott made his debut to challenge Jay White, and he denied a chance to join the Bullet Club.
I love it. I love that. That's cool. I think that all those guys fit for New Japan. I think that that's a good run there, especially if New Japan ends up doing another partnership with another company, like an Impact or whatever.
And speaking of people wrestling there, old Buddy Matthews, is very heavily teased to be the 3rd guy in the House of Black. They did a little promo this week, and that's like the rumor going around that he's going to be the 3rd guy.
I love it, dude. I think Buddy Matthews
is the 3rd guy, right?
Yeah, I think like Buddy Matthews is super underrated. I could totally see awesome programs with guys like Jungle Boy and Starks and Guevara. The dude's got a ton of talent, and he's a ridiculously good worker. I'm a big fan.
And one thing I want to mention, pretty cool, we did the GCW show last week, and we were raving about how good 16-year-old Nick Wayne is. He actually got an all-elite wrestling contract.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a crazy contract, man. I mean, he's got to finish high school before he can go full-time, but he's still going to wrestle on shows, which is crazy.
It's more like a development, it's basically like they're securing him to his deal like a college player. Like, we're going to secure this kid, lock him up. Yeah, exactly. They're locking him up. They're like, oh, yeah, we're not going to let WWE get a hold of this dude.
Absolutely not. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, me too. Great. Fantastic shit. The only other big thing in the news, I know you were talking about Titan, but Braun Strowman, Titan, aka Braun Strowman, and EC3 are actually starting their own promotion called Control Your Narrative, and there's a TV deal imminent, apparently.
Huh. Control Your Narrative.
That's going to be the name of the promotion.
That's a bad idea. I don't like that idea from them. I don't think smart. I don't think that they're not. That's a bad idea. I don't think they're able to carry a company. I
think it's bad timing with the Cody leaving AEW and all this big stuff going on. Like, no one really cares about this. Like, New Japan's got some shit popping off. AEW storylines are popping. WWE, they're headed in the right direction. I don't think anybody really cares about Control Your Narrative at this point. Impact, great episode of Impact last night. No Surrenders coming up tomorrow. Like, all the companies are doing well. I don't think you need to start another one.
Yeah, man. It's exciting. It's exciting indeed. Anything else before we get to the episode?
I mean, that's pretty much the meat and the potatoes. Cody Rhodes, Stone Cold maybe coming back. I mean, if that's that, those are the headlines in wrestling right now. Stone Cold and Cody Rhodes. Did you ever think that would be the headlines coming into last week?
I did not, but I am sure excited about it. Man, before we get any further, though, let's go ahead and jump into this week's episode. We're back with the Baker's Dozen. It's Jesse Baker and Mr. Scott Hensley.
Welcome back to Kayfabe Comparisons, second installation of the Baker's Dozen. Thanks so much to my partners, Daniel, John Schaefer, Mr. Know-It-All himself, and Wex Breaking the Lawson. And I am just very glad to have our guest today, Mr. Scott Hensley. Scott, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for joining us. Nashville, so on and so forth. We're pretty close. But one of my biggest admiration points for you is Scenic City Invitational turned me on to so many incredibly important wrestlers and people that obviously we saw instantaneously almost in much larger factions and things. So I'm very fucking happy to have you on. I hope that we're happy to have the same thing. We're coming up on March 5th, the Scenic City Rumble.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are so excited to have the fourth ever Scenic City Rumble coming up March 5th at Soddy Daisy High School. We have 6 big matches and, 7 if you include the 30-person over-the-top Rumble. The winner of that will be entered into the big 2-day tournament that we do in August, the Scenic City Invitational Tournament, and they will get to pick their first-round opponent.
That absolutely rules. Those are some stakes.
Yeah.
That's what makes shit interesting, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we like the sort of synergy between the shows, and we try to create a fun event where you can come and know nothing about it and have a good time, or you can get invested in it and you can follow us from event to event and have a good time and learn more about the wrestlers and sort of follow a story of wrestlers trying to be the best.
One of my favorite things about SCI the first year that I went was the experience, and I know COVID has kind of put a damper on this, but the experience of being able to go and also stay in Best Western with the City Cafe and kind of be right around all of the talent and everybody else, I would imagine that that's got to be an important part to more than just me, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we've really created a community. And I give credit where credit is due to the Hells family for really starting that. Dylan Hells and, of course, Papa Hells, his dad, and Devin and Dustin. And that's been passed on to sort of Ben Zaney. And I just really appreciate them so much. And it's so cool to have so many people from literally other countries come in and just have the community that they have and the fandom of coming together for a destination event.
Absolutely. Destination event being the key, and that is huge. And that's part of what I admire the most about what y'all do is destination event, the ability to promote it the right way. Are you so obviously Soddy Daisy, Chattanooga, so on and so forth. Are those your origins?
I am actually from Tullahoma, Tennessee, so halfway between me and you. And I came down here for college and got plugged into the wrestling scene in Alabama and Georgia and Tennessee. And I've been able to use my resources that way to pool some people together and just make friends of friends and put together some really cool events. And we have branched out from being something that's just about pushing the local talent to being something that's about getting them a lot of exposure, raising a lot of money, and being something that's seen all over the world now. Yeah.
And that's what it's really about at the end of the day. Exposure, promotion, so on and so forth. SCI, obviously, huge deal. Also, action wrestling is a big deal. And kind of one thing we probably should touch on, the very first ever homosexual IWTV champion, Mr. AC Mack. That's a huge deal.
Oh, it absolutely is. And it's just strange as a straight white guy that barriers are still sort of needing to be broken down. And just to be a guy that, I've booked AC Mack since I think 2017 because he told me he was in the 2017 Rumble for 17 seconds, I think it was. So, I booked him when he was nobody, and just to see his evolution as a performer, and then to see him accomplish something that's so cool to see someone accomplish, and that means so much to so many people. And wrestling is really at a really good place, I think, with inclusivity and just celebrating differences.
Yeah. I would have to agree that it's it's a lot to be able to see that and recognize it, and also it's a big move to be able to embrace that and actually be a part of that being in action. That's kind of, it's very impressive at the end of the day. The booking decisions wise, when it comes to SCI particularly, what goes into that? Like, are you like really kind of weighing on the people that, I don't know how, like, just describe that process if you don't mind.
We want to work with people that want to work with us. And we don't want to, I mean, we're probably not going to be able to give somebody a house payment to come work for us. But, you know, we do have a large charity aspect to what we do. We have a very small budget. And, you know, we are, you know, we definitely pay everybody, but at the same time, we are sort of a dream-seeking promotion where, you know, we are paying in those exposure bucks for the most part. I mean, like I said, you know, we're not asking anybody to work for free, but nobody's making a killing yet off of us. But we still want to be a great networking hub and a great place for people to say, you know, that's where I met such and such. That's where I wrestled such and such. That's where these people saw me for the first time. And that has absolutely happened since 2015.
Heck yeah. Do you feel that the talent get annoyed by that, or do you feel that they're appreciative of being put on the platform that you guys put them on?
I would say it depends on their goals. I think there are some people whose goals don't align with ours, that they do just want to be somebody that automatically makes a lot of money, and who doesn't want to make a lot of money? But we are a stop along the road rather than a final destination. And I don't think some wrestlers have the vision for that. And then I think different people's visions evolve over time. And so I think a lot of people start out with, you know, I'll do some things for exposure, and then maybe they don't get to where they want. And so from then on out, they're like, okay, the fun is over. It's all serious from now on. If it doesn't pay all my bills, then I don't want to do it. And that's 100% okay. It just takes communication and just figuring out what each other's goals are and creating mutually beneficial relationships.
Yep. Makes all the sense in the world. It's kind of one of those things that I really want to ask myself. I've seen a lot of people that were not only through Action, not only through Scenic City, but also through Southern Underground Pro and through Crux and through other places like that, that have obviously shown up, gone into GCW, gone into AEW, gone into even WWE. And it's kind of one of those situations that you wonder what is going to happen next, MLW, so on and so forth. Like Daniel Makabe, Manser, Greeny, Joey Lynch, Kevin Koo, AJ Gray, AC Mack, Marco, Scorpio. Like one of my favorite stories on earth, 2018 SCI. I may or may not have enjoyed some quote unquote chocolate cake with 2 Gold Scorpio and in the Best Western right outside of the City Cafe off of Old Lee Highway. And those things are things that like can't be repeated. So I'm wondering if what's the next move? What's the next move for any of that kind of stuff in terms of how you guys understand it?
Well, I think we have built a good sponsorship network where we are able to reach out and get some of the bigger names like that. Of course, this year, sort of our biggest name was probably Daniel Garcia, who, like you talked about, instantly, you know, was on AEW. And I think he was actually working something with 2.0 and was working with Sting like the week before SCI. And as a promoter, it's like that's your dream, is to have somebody already sort of waving the banner on a mainstream scale before they get to you. But then, of course, we want them to wave that banner once they leave us as well. So to get the bigger names and everything, it's just sort of keeping your ear to the ground and trying to figure out who has the talent and the passion and what makes sense for both people.
Yeah, absolutely. So one big part of SCI that I really love to focus on, and part of it that I admire again, that 501c3 nonprofit level, you're benefiting people. It's charity, and I wonder how that benefits you and what your experience is like going through that.
Yeah, it's there's times at the end of the day where you feel like all the work is for someone else, but I think you have to celebrate that. I think if you look at the results that we've had with the two goals that we have of raising money and raising exposure, we have certainly accomplished that for the wrestlers and for the schools that we've worked for. We are literally at tens of thousands of dollars raised for organizations that depend on outside funding to have uniforms and to have the right weight equipment to train and the different things that, you can play those sports without that stuff or with old uniforms and everything, but it means so much to those programs and it helps them out so much. And I'm just really glad to be a part of that and the wrestlers' story and progression as well.
That makes a lot of sense to me. I think that is incredibly important. I wonder, you don't have to spill the tea if you don't want to, but in terms of having to deal with that monetarily when it comes to talent and things like that, have there been difficulties with that scenario, like just describing it to people?
Oh, definitely. I think people leave, and wrestlers have left as well, thinking that myself and Matt Griffin literally just load up our car with piles of cash and, are rolling down the road after the shows. And that's not true at all. We rarely, if ever, leave with any different than, some of the wrestlers. There's been shows where we don't pay each other, and there's been shows where, we take, not much at all, but most of that is just going to repay expenses. It is very much nonprofit passion project on our part, but it's a labor of love, and it's something that, Matt Griffin and I both love doing, and sort of action evolved out of Scenic City. Matt Griffin was actually a cameraman at the 2015 Scenic City Invitational.
Oh, I did not know that. I looked up a lot of shit and I didn't find that.
Yeah. And Dylan Hells was in the crowd in 2015. He came up because he said he saw Congo Kong advertised, which, at that time, Kong was a guy really on the upswing and would later go on to Impact Wrestling and do pretty well there. But that was a huge event in 2015 to partner with a local promotion, bring in outside guys, and we had Empire Wrestling that had so many good local guys to build up and to feed off of, and then that sort of went away and for 2016, but we evolved into more of what we are now, which is school fundraisers, but we've been able to create a brand out of those fundraiser shows, and that's been really exciting.
That's huge. And creating a brand not only is integral, but it's amazing to be able to do that and actually genuinely benefit things that are going on. I think my next question is going to be, who are you most excited for in the 2022 Scenic City Rumble?
And I think Tank is a good answer.
Yeah.
Tank. I always love the big guys in Rumble matches because, it takes a group effort to get them out if somebody can get them out. And Tank is that veteran presence guy that, he's got the size, he's got the legitimacy, he's got the experience, and just one of the most interesting guys in professional wrestling because he spans styles, he spans generations of wrestlers. He wrestled Terry Gordy, he wrestled Abdullah the Butcher, Gypsy Joe, but then he also wrestled guys like Samoa Joe and Seth Rollins and AJ Styles and Matt Riddle. I mean, nobody has the resume that Tank has, and he's so unpredictable, which is good and bad as a promoter. I don't know if you've ever seen the clip from a show that we did in Sell Creek where he just absolutely flattens AJ Gray, who is sitting in a chair.
Yeah.
The school, somebody was like, was that one of your chairs? And I was like, I don't think so. We auctioned it off. They both signed it, and we auctioned it off, and I think it ended up raising like $100 or something. So the school was like, destroy away.
There you go. That's how it happened. Probably like as we're kind of starting to wrap this up, I would say obviously the IWTV relationship is pretty integral to everything that you guys do, but also it didn't start that way. And I just kind of wonder, like, what's your favorite thing you ever booked?
Oh, mercy.
I know. That's a throw off.
Man. that is a really hard one. I will say one of my favorite things was definitely the story of Joey Lynch. Joey Lynch was out in the first round in 2015, and then made it to the second round 16, finals 17, and then I believe it was 18 was the year that he went all the way. But just to see his crazy match with PCO and to see his little boy jump in the ring with him at the end there to celebrate, that's, it's those real moments that we've been able to create. And piggybacking off of that, the point where Jaden Newman earned a spot in the Scenic City Scenic City Invitational, taking his beating from Warhorse, and then Matt Griffin and I legitimately going into the ring to show him or to literally invite him to be a part of the Invitational, 100% shoot. He had no knowledge of that. His family had no knowledge of that. And Jaden's mom is a crier, which, she loves Jaden so much. And it's so emotional when somebody that is an overcomer like Jaden is able to accomplish something for real, because he's a guy that at 15 years old, his grandfather bought him a wrestling company in Chattanooga. And so he's had a weird path into wrestling, but he's absolutely earned everybody's respect. And it's been a journey along the way for that.
El numero uno.
That's right.
Ichiban #1. I can't argue that. That absolutely rules. That's a great answer. And outside of anything else, the only other thing that I can really ask is, what do you want to plug?
Yeah. SCIwrestling.com for tickets. It is March 5th. Doors open at 6:30. Bell time is 7:30. And we have those 6 huge matches. Starting at the top, I'll start with the Rumble match. We've announced 20 entrants. You can check those out on our social media. On Twitter, it's at SCI Tournament. We have, like I said, 20 entrants announced. We're going to announce 4 more on Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then we'll have 6 more mystery or fill-in entrants there. We also have a Southern Underground Pro Bone Storm Championship match. Really excited to have that. AJ Gray, GCW star, ranked in the top 50 in the world by PWI last year. He's coming to town with that championship to defend it against El Numero Uno, Ichiban. #1, Jaden Newman. So, and it's Jaden Newman's high school. So to get to fight for a championship at your own high school, it's a cool opportunity there against literally one of the best in the world. We have he's still the IWTV champion at this time. If he has that championship, then it will be defended on March the 5th. AC Mack. We have Avery Good, professional wrestler, coming in. He's on his retirement tour, and this is one of his last 2 or 3 matches. He's taking on Eric Royal in a match that will be just absolutely amazing because Eric Royal is good at everything.
That's true.
And we have sort of some proving ground matches as well. We have a local guy, Jax Dane, coming back to town. He's been all over the world. He's been an NWA World Heavyweight Champion. He's on NWA, and he's actually a Saudi Daisy High School alumni as well from nearby Sell Creek. But he's coming to take on Noah Hossman, who is a trainee of Kurt Stallion, and then is a trainee of the Jacobs Pritchard Wrestling Academy. So quite the background for him. And and they both have Tennessee and Texas ties there. So an interesting backstory to that match. And then we have the tag match of Violence is Forever versus the Squatting Dragons. And very excited to have that. And my son is screaming in the next room. And so all of that and more, March the 5th. And like I said, tickets will be available at the door or scIwrestling.com. And we really look forward to having something for the community and for the wrestlers.
Absolutely. Please visit scIwrestling.com. Scott, I can't thank you enough for your time. I really appreciate it, and I very much look forward. I'm going to try and make it down to Chattanooga at that time as well, so we'll see what happens. But
for anybody that can't make it, IWTV Live. It's going to be on IWTV Live, so if you can't make it in person, there's nothing like it in person, but check us out on IWTV if you can't make it.
If your worst case scenario is IWTV Live, just go to iwtv.net. I can't recall, but you can find it. Use the Google. It'll be okay. Thank you very much, Scott. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And that was the Baker's Dozen featuring Jesse Baker and Mr. Scott Hensley.
Yeah, man. Good stuff. Great interview. I'm really glad to have him on the show. It's awesome. I had no idea, so it's really cool to see all the things that he's kind of had his hand in. Yeah, man, I'm excited. We got a good thing rolling here. Nice, quick little interview. Good little show. Lots of meat on the bone in the tea. I'd say it's a pretty good episode this week.
Yeah, definitely. Looking forward to the next couple weeks of programming that we got coming up too.
Yeah, man, I am hype. This week was, again, the Baker's Dozen with Scott Hensley, and next week it's an all current events show. I'm pretty excited about it. It's going to be WWE's Elimination Chamber from Saudi, going up against Impact's No Surrender from this weekend. Do you know exactly what we have going on in No Surrender this weekend, by any chance?
We got a lot of Bullet Club stuff going on. GOD versus the Good Brothers for the Impact Tag Team Championships. Matt Cardona defending his title against the former champion Jordan Grace, their version of the internet title, the
digital championship or whatever.
The digital media championship.
Digital media
yes,
championship. Yeah.
That should be a good match. There's a lot of good stuff going on there.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. The Elimination Chamber is exciting. Again, too, with the Cody news, you never know. Maybe he just pops up, takes somebody's place in the chamber or something.
Dude, if I hear you're only smoking mirrors and Cody comes out.
Oh, no, I think he's going to let him keep their song with that whole
probably
wrestling.
Downstate. I mean, they did all these
Royal
other
Family or whatever.
So
yeah.
Makes sense.
Well, I think he keeps the whole thing with his little narrative intro and the whole thing. I think his intro stays exactly the same.
Will he come out of the stage though? Will he rise from the stage?
Oh yeah, they're gonna push him big. I mean, yeah, he's gonna be a main event guy right away. Yeah, man, that's gonna be crazy, dude. Bloodline. What if they do? I feel like they're gonna have to put some other guys with him though. Like maybe I don't know. It's neither here nor there. We'll find out. We're going to find out in Elimination Chamber. That's next week. 2 weeks from now, we are covering our first MLW main event show. It's MLW Super Fight 2022. Seeing our boy Alex Kane throw some folks around on that show. Pretty hyped for that. That one's going to be going up against TNA Destination X from 2007. So lots of meat on the bone there, kind of like in the same kind of world, comparing like a little 15-year throwback there. How you feeling about covering some MLW finally?
I'm actually really excited to cover some MLW. Not only seeing some bodies being tossed by Alex Kane, but just all the other great shit that's going to be on it. Killer Cross is going to be on that show. Yeah. There's going to be, like you said, lots of meat on the bone to cover.
Yeah, man. I'm very excited. Rounding out 3 weeks for us is going to be AEW's Revolution. It's about time for an AEW pay-per-view, man. It's been a while.
Yep.
AEW Revolution, and that's going to be going up against WWE's No Way Out from 2007. So covering a lot of 2007 in the next couple weeks. Next week is all current. I'm pretty excited about it, man. We got a lot of stuff to go over, and then we got a ton of really cool stuff coming up for March and April, and I'm pretty sure Mr. Jesse Baker is going to be on the majority of our March shows. I know he's going to be on our MLW show. Pretty sure he's going to be on the AEW show, so I'm hyped.
And then we got Mania coming up right after that. So, everything's pretty exciting at this time of year for wrestling.
Yeah, man. I am super hyped about it. Can try to get the KG Cast back on for the Wrestlemania show, have a big super show.
Ooh, that'd be great.
I'm pretty pumped about it, man. That's going to do it for us this week, though. You can always find the show at KFabeCom and all of your social, except for the TikTok. It's at KFabeComPod. Where we have most of our media is actually on TikTok and on YouTube. So be sure to follow us and hit the subscribe button. Also hit that bell so you get a notification when we have a new video pop up. You can always find me at Daniel Daybreak pretty much everywhere. Wex, give them the script, baby. Where can they find you?
You can find your boy Wex at Wex Breaking the Loss on all social medias. And I'm going to try to be a little bit better about that Kayfabe Comparisons Instagram and Twitter. Trying to get the videos on there too, possibly. More platforms, more people can get their eyes on it and
love
the podcast.
I love it. I'm hyped for it. That's going to do it for us this week. We'll see you guys next week. We're out. Peace.
Peace.